I think we got Facebook going.
Facebook and
YouTube is taking its time again.
What about TikTok? Is that up?
FaceTube is.
Oh, FaceTube.
Yeah. All right. We're up on everything.
All right. Morning, everybody. Welcome to the 54th episode of the 034 Motorsport Live Q&A. Thanks for joining us this morning. As always, this is a question and answer session. So, we can't really talk to you guys. So you guys submit your questions into whatever social media format you're in, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. We like to take on controversial topics, technical topics, anything you want to know about cars or anything else, cooking tips, relationship advice. Nate's good at 3D printing, and Nate's good at just about everything. If your printer's broken,
any kind of printer, apparently.
Yeah. And then, I don't know if everyone knows this, but we clip out a lot of little segments from every episode, and those are all on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, I'm sure you've seen them, but go check it out if you haven't. They're more like TikTok format, like some of them are just a minute long. Some of them are 20 or 30 minutes long, but they're topical clip outs of our hour-long segments.
Yeah, so we're trying to make it a little easier for you to find and search for stuff that we're talking about.
It's a good way to interact with the stuff we say and the questions we answer without committing a lot of time and energy. So, I also wanted to point out I'm wearing our 15th anniversary shirt, which we released a few months ago. This is a medium, which I now fit in, which is awesome, and I think I look pretty good in it. Yeah. But I mean, if you want to be the envy of all your friends and have women throwing themselves at you, this is the shirt you want to be wearing. So,
or any other.
And I think
gender you prefer.
Yes, right. Well, if you're a woman and you like women, or a man you like women, men would probably throw themselves at you too. But there's a good chance the other man will be wearing the same shirt, so it could be kind of awkward. That's why I didn't mention. And we actually recently lowered the price of all our T-shirts. Did we go down from they were 28 and now they're like 20 or something? $20. $20 for these shirts. And actually we actually, these are good quality shirts. These aren't the cheapest shirts. What are they? They're like a quality brand name. I mean, they fit really nice. They're really soft. Yeah. Right. So, anyways, if you care about fashion and looking lit, then this is the way to go. So, all right. Let's hop into the questions. Let's see. Any hints on B9 A4 hybrid turbos? Will you be doing the TT option or making your own? We're still kind of focused on stage 1, stage 2 stock turbo stuff with the A4. We haven't gotten to the point where we're really looking into hybrid options. Sorry, we're focusing on the S4 and RS5 first, and then A4 is kind of in the mix there. But the bigger market is for the 3.0T and the 2.9T applications. Once we have stage 1 and stage 2 release for the A4, we will start looking into hybrid options, and I'm certain we will release one. And the B9 A4 is a great platform, really good chassis, great handling car, and phenomenal power from that 4-cylinder. So Stay tuned. I'm sorry we don't have anything specific. How do I convince my wife to stop pushing me to have my new driver daughter practice driving my car rather than my wife's minivan? That's a good question. I mean, you could just say you don't want to.
It's also a car. Like, let people drive your car. I don't know.
It's up to you. But if he doesn't want her to,
Yeah, I don't know. I fall into the, it's should be fun and enjoyable for everyone. And, it's just a car.
So Nate's position is let your daughter drive the freaking car.
Yeah.
And mine is tell your wife what you really want and communicate that. And if you have a healthy relationship, she should respect that. But if you don't have a credible position to prevent her from driving your car, then you might have a hard time with that conversation. I would say, I guess I would ask you what your concerns are. Do you think she's gonna? I mean, it's probably a DSG or an automatic. So
that'd be.
She's not gonna wear the car out driving it.
I mean, better if it was a stick though, because it's the best place to learn.
Yeah, But I don't know. It might want to learn on a cheaper car, like like a Miata or something, where you can like unbolt the transmission with 3 bolts.
Which would you want your daughter crashing in?
Well, it sounds like this is a learning.
Yeah,
This is for
it's just a
learning,
type.
not driving.
Yeah, stuff. It goes both ways. Do you want ideally the better maintained, the safer, the more modern vehicle?
Doesn't sound like he's going to let her drive the car.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
It's a 2017 A6 competition. Okay.
So it's definitely is it a DSG?
It's an auto.
Yeah. Oh, it's a ZF. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be too concerned about it. I mean, if you're in the car with her, everything, you're in a controlled circumstances, it should be
Yeah, I
fine.
mean, if get some cheap wheels to put on it if you want. If you're worried about curbing or something, I'm not sure what the concern is.
Yeah, but if he's with her, it shouldn't be a concern, and he may not want to like tackle parallel parking just yet.
Yeah.
Will there be a Memorial Day sale? Yes and no. So we are not having a broad-based 034 Motorsport product sale. However, we are having a sale announced. Did you guys announce it?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well, I
Announced
I think you have.
I think we're gonna announce it. We'll get it out there. We are going to have a Memorial Day sale on all 034 Motorsport Dynamic Plus tuning. So that's coming up. When does it start? Friday. So in a few days. So and it's going to be a good discount. I guess we'll wait to release any more information. But yeah, so that's what we're doing for Memorial Day, and I believe it goes for a week, or is it the weekend?
just a week.
So it's Friday through Monday. Yeah. When will ZTF wheels be available in black? That's a good question. We're still working on that. I guess here's our dilemma. Is it black? Is it bronze? Is it chartreuse?
Yeah.
Magenta?
Yeah. OEM silver. Is it?
Yeah.
White. Is it? It doesn't end anywhere.
Right. Nagara blue. People seem to like Nagara blue cars. What was the next color, Nick? Was it black?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So apparently nobody wants to see their wheels, and they like black. But it is kind of cool. It looks like the car's floating. But I'm sorry, we don't have an ETA. You could get them repainted yourself. We're trying to find a local place that can repaint wheels for us reliably, and we still haven't made enough progress on that. Can you just release the B9 S4 tune already? It's been weeks.
It's been weeks. Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, what? Okay. What's the date? Today's the 25th?
It's 25th.
Okay.
You don't have time to play.
All right. So we're gonna release it soon. We will announce something on June 1st.
Yep.
But we are imminent on release, and everything is pretty much finalized. There's some last minute buttoning up, and there's a certain amount of effort taking a tune from kind of a pre-production engineering finished to a production ready to sell product,
and as well as getting it, all of the various box codes set up and live on the server, and getting all the
that's right. So
octane set up, everything at the same revision.
There's engineering things that need to be done to make it a production product. There's marketing, there's sales, there's operational. Our server is being updated to support it. So yeah. But June 1st, which is what day? That's Tuesday? No.
Yeah.
It is? Maybe we should do something on the Memorial Day. So okay, this is going to be on Tuesday next week again. So we will announce. Yeah, it'll be good. June 1st. Yeah. So check back in on June 1st, 11 a.m. here, and we will give you all the details. Will there be increased vibration from the transmission mount in lower RPM or reversing?
Which mount?
Yeah, it'd be good to know what transmission mounts. But I would say that generally any of our inserts and any of our street density mounts, would have minimal vibration. Although if you could feel them at any time, it would be at idle and reversing,
Yeah,
just due to the DSG.
yeah,
The nature of the
it's due to
DSG.
the DSG, and it's just the way those mounts kind of load up. Yeah, even B8, the way the mount's designed, if you put it in reverse and you put load on it, it's basically trying to lift the back of that transmission,
Right.
which takes and pushes the mount up into
Yeah.
the insert up into the mount. So that's its function is to kind of reduce that movement. So yeah, those are the two, I guess you could say, worst case scenarios for those mounts. But I mean, they're all rubber dampened all the way around the mount and the insert, so it shouldn't, it's not anything drastic by any means.
Yeah. If you give us a little more detail, we can chime in. Like for example, the B8, the insert does not have any vibrations, but the stage 2 rubber mount, which controls kind of the up and down attitude of the transmission. To Nate's point, when you go in reverse, it loads up and it can cause some vibration. But I would say none of our inserts or street density mounts create any vibration, really negative vibration when you're driving.
Yeah.
And under 99% of the conditions you're driving.
Yeah, and most of the situations we've seen with the MQB complaints of noise is usually an install issue, where the mount's not centered in the rubber, or it's kind of pinched in there and kind of jammed in and locking essentially that mount to a hard point. That's usually where NVH and concerns come from.
Yeah. Not a lot of questions today, huh?
Now we're just being bombed with
Stickers.
stickers. Yeah.
Even you fit in the city business.
Let's see. Good morning. Can we get some Dynamic Plus lowering springs for the non-air B9 SQ5? Yes, we are working on that. If you're local, please reach out to us. We would like to involve you in the product development process and get your feedback.
This is coming out of production Saturday, and I want your springs. Yeah, it's okay. Well, if you're local, bring it by.
Yeah? Wait, coming out of production what?
His
car?
I'm guessing it's a new build. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, we want to do them. I think we need a car to do some measurements and things on. So yeah, we would love to work with you if you have that. It would be fun to drive one of those cars and to see
Solve that.
that and
Where it just goes up and down all the time.
No, it's on purpose.
there's just a lot of kind of motion in the ocean in that car. Dynamic Plus springs for the GLI. Don't we get this question every week?
Yep.
What didn't Aram do something?
He doesn't own a GL. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
the
Damn.
yeah. The little
Why didn't he
guy.
get a GLI? I do. Yes, every time. It's like deja vu.
It's usually the BTI spray. We need it.
Supposedly DTI springs make a front line, which doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make any sense. It's a
Yeah.
McPherson strut with all the same geometry and the same front end.
Yet there's a situation we're dealing with that makes no sense either.
Okay. Well,
You know what? Why don't you reach out to us if you have a GLI? Social at 034motorsport.com. We at least like to talk to you. I mean, we can do springs. We're just not sure how many people want them, but it does keep coming up. Do you need a ride height calibration on the B9 S4 when installing your Dynamic Plus lowering springs? No, you don't need it. I think, our advice is you don't need to, but if you want to, you can. We don't believe it's necessary or that it improves or changes anything about the installation. So, hey, what happened to that picture?
that was just a little
More.
little blurb.
What are the billet plates on the table? All right, so the factory, all the newer factory Audis, they come with this new style oil seal, so in the old days when oil seals were burly and robust, there was a rubber seal typically made from Viton, which is a very durable, flexible oil resistant rubber. Viton is a trademark, I believe, of DuPont or someone like that.
It's one of those tier ones.
Yeah, and then inside the rubber lip, the Viton rubber lip, is a spring. So inside here, there's an actual coil spring that's under tension, and so you would slide the seal over the end of the crankshaft where the rear main seal seals, and there would be spring tension holding the seal on there, and they did a very good job of sealing, and they lasted forever. For some reason, at some point, all the OEMs went away from that, and now there's sort of a molded rubber lip, and as that lip is installed, it creates some tension, and then these are mounted on typically a thin sheet metal plate. So these seals just don't perform as well. They tend to fail more often, and they're just kind of really flimsy and chintzy. So we've been getting feedback over the years that our customers would like something more robust. And by the way, the older ones, like if you're going back into the 80s, the better quality Viton spring-loaded seal would typically be installed in like a nice cast aluminum plate. So it was very rigid. It would hold the seal in place. There would be no flex. And so we have now come out with our own line of billet aluminum plates with this more traditional but better quality seal installed. So now you can get the good old technology in the new applications. And initially we're releasing for the 2.0 T applications and the 1.8 T application. So this is the 1.8 T. This is an older style, and this actually would fit a ton of different cars.
2.0 FSI.
This is 2-liter FSI, and this is TSI. Yeah. So 1.8 T FSI, and frankly, I believe this will fit I think this might even fit 5 cylinders and stuff, like old school vintage 5 cylinders. Does it look the same? It's the same. That's an i5.
It looks really
yeah,
similar.
No, it is. And the newer one, and then we're coming with a 2.7 T one as well soon. So our goal is to create a whole line of these for all the popular Volkswagen Audi applications. So we have more coming, and these are legit OEM quality rear main seals. These are L-ring that we include in this, and one of them even includes an installation centering tool so that you can slide it on without damaging the seal. These are very price competitive. There is one other option on the market. They're probably going to be pissed, but sorry. They had a 5-year head start on us, and so we finally decided to jump into this business as well. Very price competitive. Actually,
we were getting
cheaper.
Hammered by our dealers.
We've had so many requests for it, and so you know what, we're here to serve customers. We're here to get product to market. These are clean sheet designs, everything. So, and we've added some nice little features. It looks freaking badass, and if you want to take that picture, some snaps of your motor before you install it, it's gonna look really cool with this part. Not to mention it's also hella functional as well. So. So yeah, those are on our website currently. If you go on our website and search for main seal or oil seal, I think they come right up. And they're in stock, ready to ship. We will be sending an email out, releasing those this week. And dealers should be seeing, when are dealers getting an email?
Not this week.
Okay. Dealer email will be going out next week. So, all right. Yeah, if anyone has any questions about these, we're here. Best starting point with a B8.5 S4 suspension upgrade. Well, I would say it depends on your budget, but I would start with springs and sway bars, I think.
Yeah.
That's going to have a huge impact.
Yeah, at the very least, if you're starting part 1, I would say rear sway bar.
Yeah, do the rear bar. We don't have a front bar, so it would be our rear sway bar and the springs. You could start with the rear bar, and that will. I don't know if the rear bar or the springs, which one is more noticeable. I'd say they're both probably equally noticeable.
Yeah, they do different,
Yeah, but
different things. The springs really, are an all around.
Yeah,
feel the sway bar you're going to notice in corners.
But paired together, you know, they're going to transform the way the car drives and handles. You should also check out your front control arms. Those wear
Maintenance is a huge thing.
So make sure
you're topped up on that.
good front control arms. We have end links in the front that you can put in, and then our inserts would be, you know, after that. And then I would say our adjustable upper control arms to dial in some more camber. If you can go from stock alignment to like a degree on the street, it's gonna make your car turn and handle more like, I don't know if you've ever driven an Evo, or more like a sports car, you know, with that good turn in bite and really good grip.
Yeah, the car gets really neutral and it's a, you know, really enjoyable car to drive.
Even a
just the
degree
springs and
makes a
movers and
huge
then,
difference.
nice alignment on it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we'd recommend. You know, go on our website and check out everything we have. But you know, it's not rocket science. I think what we told you is all you need to know. So, is Javad's shirt for sale? Yes, it is. I spoke about this in the beginning of the episode, but it is on our website. This is our 15-year anniversary shirt, which we released this year, and it features all of the project cars that we've had for the past 5 years. We also have a 10-year shirt, which features all the project cars from the first 10 years of the company's history. Well, not all. These aren't all the cars, but these are the 5 best cars in the last 5 years, and those are the 5 best cars in the first 10 years. But they're on sale for about they're for sale for about $20.
Yep.
So
Yeah, just go to the website. It's under 034 Gear, and
that's
right.
right.
All the good stuff there.
Yeah.
Along with the coffee mugs.
Someone says, Javad, your transformation from dad bod to father figure has been amazing. Father figure, I like that. This is Chris Murphy? Yeah, well, Chris has a good way with words. I like that. Thank you, Chris. You just have to stop eating, and you too can look like this. It's great. Well, you just have to eat like 1/4 as much, which before was 4 times more than I should have been eating. So,
It sneaks up on you.
it does. It's actually it's an addiction, right? I know for me, I start craving sugar. I eat a big fattening meal, and then I gotta have sugar afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, your
you
brain's
know?
feeding you the dopamines and all that.
Yeah. So I think the key is, you know, it takes about a week or two to break that addiction from the sugar, and I think it's mostly driven by sugar. If you can have enough willpower to break out of that for like 1 week, you can eat right for 1 week, then that intense burning in the front of your head that constantly takes you to the pantry, cabinet, or refrigerator starts to quiet down, and 2-3 weeks in, it pretty much goes away. So it's great. But yeah, it's the first couple weeks. All right. Yeah, the questions are coming. I guess you just have to ask why no one's asking questions.
They just pour in.
Opinion on aftermarket Haldex controllers, Cyvex, VDVeer engineering. Nate?
There's a couple of different versions out there. So the Cyvex kind of takes over all of the control from, you know, that's the model I think they're talking about. The others are basically an interceptor that goes between the CAN bus and the stock controller, at least the ones I've seen. Those, it's interesting. Those, I'd be interested to see the actual conditions and pump controls that come out of it. Because you can really only, you know, manipulate what the stock controller sees and what it's going to do. So you're not going to get like more pressure or more pump than it would do stock under the, you know, under whatever its maximum situation would be. The full standalone stuff, yeah, you can certainly increase the pump controls.
Cyvex has a controller just for that.
Right.
That's not $5,000.
Yeah, they have something, and honestly, I got to look and see. That might be an intermediate. Interceptor as well. I've got to look back. I haven't looked that much into them, honestly.
We are playing with, which one are we playing with?
The Haldex stuff?
Yeah.
We're going to have our own software for the controller. We can read,
That's true.
read
Yeah,
flash them as
we'll
well.
have
So I mean, that's ultimately how we, you know,
we're
tackle it.
experimenting here with some stuff.
Yeah. So, but there's a couple of other things that need to be done to really get more torque to the wheels on those. So
yeah.
I don't have a lot of good concrete info for you. Our opinion is they do manipulate the torque output to the rear wheels. without running each example ad nauseum, I couldn't say more than that to it.
Updates on CARB certification on intakes. So we are currently in the process. We do not have the actual certifications yet. We're very confident that we will.
Yeah.
Without promising you anything, I would say, you could buy our intakes with confidence, knowing that they don't change the emissions of the vehicle, and we are in that process currently.
Yep. They have all of
CARB.
our intakes currently.
Yeah.
And we're going through what requirements they're going to need for validation and testing. It is not a fast process. None of this
No,
is
it's all
nearly
backed
as fast as we would like it.
Yeah,
So
it is.
yeah,
But the intake makes you fast.
the intake will make you faster.
The intake is fast,
Yep.
but not the process.
The certification.
CARB is not fast.
CARB is not fast. It's
It's a
huge
government
waiting game.
agency, so. Summerfest this summer, probably not, but we're gonna do like a fall fest, I think. I feel good about doing that. Although, things are really progressing. We went from full coronavirus lockdown to probably California is going to be, mask and social distancing free by June 15th. So if that happens, we could, but I don't know. I don't know if July is going to be enough time
Yeah,
for us.
it's
So
still
maybe
pretty
maybe we'll
tight.
do something in August or September, maybe as late as October.
I think we talked about doing another drive or something like we did before.
Yeah, well,
that's
So like August.
we're doing some events with some of the local clubs, like the Bar 8s. Is that how you say it? Bar 8? Bay Area R8. And we have another Audi club event planned as well. So yeah, so hang in there. I think if we wait a little bit, it will be even better. More people will be vaccinated, and we could probably have the event, in August or September, and be much more carefree about having the event and doing it, not stressing so much. So, but who knows? Maybe this new India variants will start taking people out again. So I don't know. But it's looking good. Updates on the 4-inch turbo inlet for the DAZA. We are still in the engineering has been finished, so we're now currently tooling up to cast it. If you're interested in a DAZA inlet, 4-inch inlet, wait, because we are going to release it, and we're going to do a special. I'm sorry, but we're just gonna fuck the market, and we're just gonna fucking blow this thing out, and it's gonna be like a $300-400 part, and we're gonna have a really, really good sale just to really get it out there. So
And it is one of those things that is definitely a restriction on the stock, even at stock
Yes.
turbo levels, and
Yes.
especially with your own hybrid.
you definitely it's a substantive upgrade. There's substantial power for the price you pay, and our inlet will accommodate any aftermarket hybrid.
Yeah, we've got
turbo.
adapter rings that'll size it.
So we have inserts that go in that open up to the biggest, largest size, and this is going to be a top quality piece. The crankcase breather vent is cast into the housing. It's not an extra hose. But I think most of these are on the market for $300-400, and so we're going to do an introductory special that will be substantially below the rest of the market. So the other people that are selling them right now, I'm sorry, but we're excited about this product. We want to get it out there, and we want to get a bunch in people's hands. We don't usually do that, but I think on this product we will. Our B8 S4 two-piece brake discs, something we may see soon. Yes, I believe I've photographed them. They're and I think are we waiting? I think we're just waiting for the production to show up. So it should be something in the next month or two that you will see released. So hang tight. Yeah. Any new power upgrades being worked on for the AJ TTRS? I don't think so.
Yeah, we kind of went back and forth whether we were going to do some E85 work on those, but I don't know. It's a
And that market's kind of dying off. So there are power upgrades out there. I mean, we certainly have our RS500 kit.
Right.
That is a good kit that's available. But there's other options out there. But I think we're done with the AJ. Everything's moved on to the 8S. There's no comparison. Billet things already answered. Well, your B9 tunes support the 2021 models right out of the box.
That's always a tough question to answer without knowing exactly what your vehicle came with. So
That's really loud.
yeah, can you stop hammering on the wall behind us?
They
but-
want to break through the wall.
Yeah. If you've got like a code scanner or something, hit us up. We'll confirm.
Yeah, shoot us a box code.
It's looking like there's a little bit of a variation.
Well, right, but we need to see
Very
it's
likely,
compatible
yeah.
to port. So yeah, so it's tough knowing exactly what's going to come in all the brand new cars, but as they're landing. So it's a really hard one to answer.
MQB Open-Filter intake info. I have a picture of one. If I send you a picture, Nate, could you add it?
Email it to me again.
I'm doing it right now.
I will talk to the video producer and get it.
It's okay. It's just a quick. That's not a product shot. Yeah, you can tell them to just use the door if they ever want to come in. I don't know.
Yeah, let's not have to chisel through the drywall.
Yes. So we are. We do have the MQB open. It's an open intake. Nate, I just sent some pictures of it to Nate. This is the pre-production kit that's on our in-house car that's been getting tested. It's a very high-flowing intake with a very open architecture and a very big bore high-flow silicone hose going to the turbo inlets. Gosh, it's going to be priced very competitively. In fact, it's priced at or below the other cheaper options on the market.
Yeah,
And it has substantial substantive performance. It's a very high flowing intake. It's not shrouded in any way. I saw one of the other companies release an intake a few months ago, right after our shrouding conversations, and it was like the air box just wraps around the filter and shrouds it as badly as you could do it. It uses a nice big filter that's pretty much sealed off to the rest of the world by the intake shroud. So ours is really an example and an exercise of balancing the high flow nature and size of the filter with the shrouding of the air box. Nate's got a picture here, so that's it.
It'll come up in a second.
Yeah, that's you'll see in a second. That's installed in our in-house car, and so I've been driving our GTI. By the way, that car is a fucking riot. It is so fun. But I popped the hood last night and just snapped some pics of the intake. But so this is a Mark 7 GTI with our Stage 2 tuning, our springs, sway bars, and suspension components, our intake and our catch can and our downpipe, and the car is just a blast. It's so fun. It's really quick. It has a racing line front brakes on it, and so the car just hauls down. But yeah, so that's in production right now, and I think we should be able to release that in June or July. I don't know when the actual release date is, but again, and this is not going to be an expensive intake, even though it's top quality. It's a carbon fiber shroud. It's a wire reinforced silicone intake hose, which won't collapse, and a very high flowing air filter that supports 600 plus horsepower without any pressure drop. So, and I think there's intakes on the market for the same price or more that are just are cheap sheet metal and crappy restrictive filters
with questionable mounting provisions.
that just flop around. Ours is secure. There's no flopping. We have a strict no flopping policy on our intakes. CREC updates.
Nothing from last. Nothing unfortunately.
No, I know. I was just saying I'm not sure there's anything.
No, nothing to add at this time.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
We've
got a lot of stuff
in process, but yeah, because there's what is this called? Vague ETAs. There's a
vague ETAs. Yeah, that's another one.
Anything coming for Gen2 R8s? Not really. Although some of the stuff we're releasing may work on it, but We're completely focused on Gen 1 right now, and
Yeah.
I'd really like to personally, I'd like to start doing Gen 2 once we've released the Gen 1, because then I'll get to drive a Gen 2 R8. But I think we have a lot to offer for the R8. There's not a lot of there's no other companies that I've seen that have taken a holistic product development and engineering view for the R8 like we are. And so, we're taking a look at the car and developing a suspension and handling package that truly transforms the car. And
Yeah, and we've actually, we've had the thing on track with every combination we put together now, from springs to bars to wheel and tire sizing to, you name it.
I mean, the Gen 1 R8 handles amazing stock, no question. It's probably the best handling Audi ever made, production car. But then our modifications on top have taken the car to a completely new stratosphere. And to the point where I used to just really throw the car around and slide it around on the street, and now the car has so much grip. Um, I wouldn't even feel comfortable going that fast on the streets. The car, I still go really fast. It's just the car's just stuck and planted. And thanks to the suspension changes, and we've increased camber front and rear with some really simple, inexpensive products. You can completely transform the handling of your R8 for like cheap. I mean, most R8, I think in the past, if you wanted to have a good handling R8, you'd have to throw like 10 or 20 grand at the suspension. And, we're talking about maybe, less than $2,000 or $3,000 of parts, plus some labor to completely like touch every part of the suspension. So we're very excited about the Gen 1. And like I said, I want to do that for Gen 2 as well. Thankfully, these cars still have like static coil springs and sway bars on them. They haven't gone completely active yet. So probably if there's a next generation, or the e-tron stuff, I'm not sure, what's under those cars. They're probably air ride and stuff like that. I'm not sure though. We'll find out. B9 S4 SQ5 S5 Turbo Inlet. Are there benefits to it? Will you be making one? Silicone versus metal. Will it fit the TTE 710? How will it compare to the one-piece
This is a thorough question.
Carbon Lab silicone inlet? Yes, there are benefits. Yes, we are coming out with one. It's cast aluminum.
Mhm.
Yes, it will support up to a 66 millimeter inlet. I think it'll just be a nicer, better quality part than some of the other stuff I've seen out there. It's going to be affordable, but again, it'll be a cast production part. And yes, there will be power benefits to it as well. So, yeah. We're probably like 2-3 months out on releasing that, but the inlet will be compatible with our intake, and we'll have a whole system from turbo inlet to radiator support for a higher flowing
Shrouding, yeah.
Any weak points on the internals of the B9 S4 during development?
Not that we've found at this point.
I mean,
It's-
I don't think we could get there.
yeah,
the stock
with
turbo.
the stock turbo, I don't know if it's got enough in it to hurt it.
It's not like going to hit 600 foot-pounds of torque.
Right, yeah. We are currently on the E85 side of the calibration right now, pushing everything we can out of it. So, and it's no issues to speak of yet.
Fucking excited. That's
Yep.
gonna be
Yep.
That's gonna be awesome. If you were to downsize to 18-inch on the B9 S4, would there be handling implications on track beyond ride quality? Yeah, actually, probably positive ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, if you look at a lot of like full-on race cars, you're going to see generally a smaller wheel size than what you would see most cars running on the street these days.
Yeah, I mean, the job of a tire is to stay on the road. The job of a tire is to conform to the road irregularities. And an 18-inch wheel and tire with more sidewall, say like an 18-inch with like a 35 series or 40 series sidewall, is going to be more compliant. So that means that you will get a little like sidewall squish, which means when you have a short sidewall, it can't flex much. But when you have a taller one, it can flex a lot, right? But like a 35-40 series is in that sweet spot where there's maybe a little bit more movement than say a 30 series, but that thicker, bigger sidewall has more movement and compliance in it. So it can stay on the road surface longer and more effectively than a shorter sidewall tire. And that's why generally you'll see most race cars run, a slightly bigger sidewall. This is probably, someone's going to probably nail me on this one, but you look at F1 tires now. I know it's an F1 tire. You can't buy tires like that for street cars, but they do have huge sidewalls. And so, that just goes to show the highest performing, fastest cars in the world don't necessarily have skinny little rubber band tires, and there's a reason for that.
Sure, but it's still
But they're still gonna have a big, and they can do whatever they want with the tire size. They're not limited, by a fender.
yes. Cost
18-inch tires
they're lighter, they're cheaper,
and plentiful. So there's just a much more tire sizes, which I think. And then it used to be, I don't know if it's still the case, but it used to be the Miata Challenge. There was lots of RA1 takeoffs.
Oh god, yeah, we used to have so many takeoffs.
So if you wanted cheap
you're
track
limited
day
to
tires,
235 or whatever width they run.
yeah. So you could buy a bunch 8 tires for $50 each, and you could do a weekend on them, on the street car. So that's why we released 18-inch for the TTRS. Now I'll say you can do just fine with a 19-inch on the B9 chassis because they just use such a big rolling diameter tire. But I would not go to a 20-inch, for example, on the B9 chassis if handling and corner grip are what's most important to you. Now I'll admit 20s look badass, they look better, they look cool, but they're not necessarily going to be what's fastest around the track. So
got 20s on the A5 right now.
You do
the B8.
Oh yeah. It does look good.
Good.
We put the A5 wheels on the B8.
The SQ5 Wheels.
Oh, those are on what car?
The B8 A5 right now.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, no,
I've been,
that's what I was mentioning it.
I'm the one that wanted to do that.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll go check it out. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, imagine you're running. Do you want a nice squishy, like a running shoe, which running shoes have thick padded soles, or do you want to run in a climbing shoe, which has a 1/4-inch thick rubber sole? So, there's a reason why running shoes, they're cushioning from shock, which is also part of a thing when it comes to handling. There are hits and shocks to the tire, and you want the tire to be able to absorb those and not get airborne. So when you have these tiny skinny rubber band tires, the car just is never going to have as much grip as with a bigger tire. And this is kind of counterintuitive. Everyone thinks, well, if you go from a 75 series down to a 30 series, it handles better. Okay, well, sure. But you just kind of blew past the most optimal tire, which was something not quite as thin as that. So, this one keeps coming up. What do you think of a single larger crank pulley versus dual pulley with equal ratios? Do your team support this? I mean, there's no difference.
There's no difference. It's a ratio. If the ratios,
you could get there however you want.
Yeah, however you want to do it. The reason we don't always go with the big lower pulley is many of these cars do require there's a boss that needs to be cut off, and
I think we should. We should just do.
Yeah, no, we've talked about it. Yeah, the 207 or 210. Yeah. There's no difference either way. However you want to get there.
Yeah.
No, it's
for balance.
There's zero.
So, some 207 boys are reportedly breaking bolts. No one knows.
I mean, I've seen that on smaller pulleys too. Yeah. All right. Will you be releasing a ZF8 tune at the same time as your Stage 1 B9 S4 tune? Yes. That is the plan.
That is the plan.
So we're finalizing that. You actually need it to get the most power out of the ECU and to raise the shift points and all that stuff.
Yep. It'll be required to get the power levels that the Stage 1 tune can provide.
Q7 tunes. Will there ever be one for the 3.0 T?
That's one that's always, if it's a freebie come along with the current development, it's very likely. I think it is on those on the turbo motors, but we would need to confirm that. So it's not in our we're not worrying about it right now.
We're not planning on the supercharged version, though.
No, not the supercharged version. No, that one's its own thing.
But on the 3.0 T, we will, as Nate said, if what we're currently doing happens to be compatible.
Yeah.
E85 tune for 2.7 T, an option for someone who already has your 91 tune. I don't see us going back. I'm sorry. Yeah,
trust me, I would love to.
We wanted to
You've
at
got,
one point.
you know, so it's yeah. I've got so much info, and you know, it's certainly something we could do. It's just time, hours in the day.
Yeah. How can you prevent the B8 S4 intercoolers from leaking or prolonging the life? I mean, I don't know if there's any answer to that other than just maintain your coolant.
Yeah.
Make sure you're running coolant. Prevents electrolysis.
And I'm going to
corrosion.
give another mention of stop running so much damn boost if you're having a hard time keeping it cool.
Right.
Your car will be faster and last longer if you're running, you know,
and
something that your system can keep
stress.
up with. Yeah, you're going to be less stressed.
Yeah, because every PSI of boost is exponentially more stress.
Yeah, every heat, obviously pressure differential from the coolers, all of it, and you know, we see a lot of logs from a lot of guys running various combos, and a lot of y'all are trying to run a lot of boost.
Yeah,
so it's very hard on the
and we have multiple clips about talking about, you know, running the optimal amount of boost. You know, the most isn't always the best. In fact, almost never. I'd love anyone to find an example of where the most of something is always the best. You know, you need water to live. Too much water, you'll either drown or die because the chemistry inside your body will stop working. So I mean, there's the right amount of boost, which is optimal for the fuel you're running, for the amount of cooling capacity you have in your system, for the amount of stress the components in your system are willing to.
But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to run like 91 octane and you know, big dual pulley ratios, you're gonna have a hard time keeping things happy.
Yeah, I mean, even Sir Mix-a-Lot said he likes big butts, but that doesn't mean he likes the biggest butts in the world. I mean, yeah, it would crush him. I mean, a butt could fill the entire room.
To everything.
So there's the right range that is optimal, even in that extreme example. I think this is what people need to keep in mind. You know, when you're running like 27 pounds of boost, it's like the world's biggest butt is sitting on your intercoolers. You can't do that.
No, terrible.
How do your MQB springs compare to H&R? Do your springs work better on factory struts?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I without getting into specifics, and this is what we always go to, is I'm not sure what H&R does when they develop their new spring. Obviously, some engineer somewhere at H&R or team of engineers specs out what the spring should be, and they produce it. The amount of testing, the amount of driving, the amount of qualitative evaluation they do, not just quantitative. But in my experience of being in this industry for 25 plus years, is that most of these drop-in, you know, lowering springs from the big makers out there typically lowered the car too much and were too stiff and crashy. And the springs would not work optimally with the factory strut. So you would supposedly, well, you would have to upgrade your shock or strut to some supposed other option, which they don't even say what it is. And so when I had a 996 turbo like 10 years ago, and I just wanted to lower a little bit and stiffen it up a little bit, and just like if Porsche had like a stiffer, more sporty spring package. And so I looked around, I think I got iBox, and the car was undrivable. It actually became dangerous to drive. The car would like literally bounce through the corners because the springs were too low and too stiff. It had taken out all the suspension travel, and then now the springs had a rate that the factory dampers could no longer control. And so I ended up going to like full KW variant 3 coilovers just to get something that was better than the factory suspension. I actually had no issue with the way the car handled. It was just like an extra inch too high. And it did visually stock. It was just an inch higher than it needed to be. So it was at that point where I was like, maybe maybe there's an opportunity here to start making springs that are actually right for these cars, that are actually fun to drive, that you can just drop in, like I mentioned, like if the factory did a sportier option. So the very first spring we ever did was the
S3.
it was the S3,
Yeah, I think it was
yeah,
the
the
S3.
MQB S3, and then I think we moved to S4 and
S4,
B8
MQB,
S4,
GTI.
all the other options. I mean, we have dozens of springs now, but these springs are being engineered and developed by us with technical resources from a major OEM spring manufacturer. That's not anyone that you know of, and I'm driving it. Nate's driving it. Our engineering team is driving it. Our marketing team is driving these cars, and we're evaluating: is this the kind of spring that we want to drive on? We just want to drop it into the car, keep the shocks and struts, and we want it to ride great, and we want it to handle better, and we also want to be able to go to the track with it and have great performance at the track as well. So yes, our springs are all designed to use with factory struts. Volkswagen, Audi enthusiasts and connoisseurs have driven and evaluated these springs, and that's what we're selling. That's what we're giving you. I don't think the big spring makers are doing that. I mean, you look at the number of applications that like someone like an H&R supports. I mean, they make springs for every car. So how much attention could they spend on the GTI? And then in many cases, we're actually making a spring for that model. We have A4 springs and S4 springs. We have, GTI springs and Golf R springs, and they're tailored for the different applications. And I understand H&R and IBOC have started doing that. We have a spring set for the TTRS. We have a spring set for the RS3. We have a spring set for the S3. And we have a spring set for the A3. So, like every model there is represented by its own spring set because those cars are not all the same. So, what IAT temp for the B8 S4 is too high?
So I like to keep it under 70. Above that, things start getting grumpy for the most part. At 80C, you're going to have the ECU is just going to start going into protections. You'll get a drastic load reduction. You'll get, the fun taken away from you. And that's just as a safety measure for the engine. But ideally, I like to see below 70, at the end of whatever use case I'm doing, whether it's on track or, street pulls.
Someone's asking, apparently integrated engineering has a ghost cam feature, which changes the cam timing at idle to sound like a Lopi V8. I mean, it doesn't sound like a good idea, but
it's a thing. I don't. Yeah.
But it's basically dumping like raw fuel.
It's just changing the cam phasing, so it sounds like you've got a cam motor.
And yeah, it's giving a lot of overlap.
Basically, it just sounds like it's got a grumpy cam in it.
I mean, I'm assuming if the car has factory cats, that's being taken into account.
I don't know what they're doing.
Turn off after.
Or I don't know what considerations they've done.
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said last week, that's a feature. It's a feature list gimmick thing. But if people want it and like it, then we would do it, assuming it's safe and reliable. So, yeah, I don't know. That's the first I've heard of that. I kind of died a little bit inside.
Try and shield you from these things.
4.0 T tuning ETA. Well, the mounts we are now testing. So good news. We got new prototypes. They are being tested. We're gonna run those for a few months and torture those. We are working on intake products, but no imminent release there. And tuning, we're going to be working on that more this summer, right?
Yeah.
We actually started working on it, but our project S4.0 T is going to kind of accelerate that process as
it's going to be kind of a platform
as we do tuning on that.
To do what we need with.
And we're specifically setting up S4.0 T as a very OEM installation so that we can.
It's stock pulling everything for now, and then obviously we'll be progressing it.
How is EPA's new agenda affecting 034? I petitioned against it through the SEMA links. First off, thank you for doing that. If anyone would like, I think you could Google like SEMA RPM Act petition, and go sign it. So basically, there's been a lot of stuff going on with the EPA, and I think I've talked about that. EPA has been cracking down and busting aftermarket automotive companies for violating the Clean Air Act for a long time. It's not a new thing, at least 5-6 years. Since before Trump, through Trump, and it's actually, I haven't heard that it's stopping. The issue right now is that the Clean Air Act has an exemption for racing. So if you'd like to go racing, the Clean Air Act does not apply to race cars, and that's any official racing like NASA, SEMA, or NASA, SCCA, Grand Am. If you and a bunch of buddies get together and create a racing series, that's allowed under this exemption in the Clean Air Act. Several times over the past 5 years, the EPA has tried to pierce that and say that we do have the right to regulate racing. And the implication there is you could still race, but you have to do it with full emissions on the vehicle. I'm an environmentalist. I care about the environment. I care about the earth. I care about clean air and clean water. I want my kids, not to be drinking glasses of microplastics and, to deal with the effects of climate change and stuff. That's important to me. I really don't think racing is on the the things that are
jacking
causing climate change. Racing's down here, right? I mean, cow farts are like 1 trillion times worse than. So maybe the EPA should be trying to get us to eat less meat or something.
Yeah, bunker fuel in your container ships, like.
But if even if you're like, fuck the environment, which I don't agree with, but even if you were, it still doesn't make sense to regulate racing. So SEMA is fighting that, and I heard that there was some kind of, it is up for a vote, but SEMA's on behalf of the automotive aftermarket is lobbying for us. So again, go sign those petitions. But if without this racing clause, then there will be no more high flow cats. There will be no more non-CARB exempt intakes. Basically anything related to engine performance will just go away unless it has CARB EO. And the racing exemption gives enthusiasts a loophole to use this stuff for racing, and many people do.
Somebody just mentioned if you signed it in 2020, you need to re-sign it in 2021.
Yeah, because it did get brought back for another vote. So sign it every day. Have all your friends and family do it too. But it's an important legal protection for our industry and for our hobby. And I don't know. I mean, I don't want to go racing with freaking stock crap on my car. That's BS. So you want to rip all that stuff off when you go racing and make the car faster and more simpler to work on. Cats melting on the street, and they're not B8 cats.
They're not designed for those environments.
No,
that's the problem.
They're not.
It's not even necessarily that you want to, or it's that you need to remove some of these things, or install different versions of some of these things to even have a vehicle that functions under those conditions.
Right. B8.5 2.0 flex fuel catch can update. I saw it being demoed. Yes, it's going into production. It's probably a month or two out. B9 S4 rotors, our two-piece lightweight high-performance rotors, are coming out soon as well.
We're at noon.
Yeah, I think
we're wrapping up here.
We got a minute. So, how reliable and strong is the ZF8 and the B9 S4? It's quite good, but it does have a limit. I've heard that in the RS6 4.0T, it can break with a certain torque level.
In the ZF8, well, I mean, everything's got a limit.
Yeah,
as far as like,
but in the B, I don't think
on the 3 liter, nobody's had any issues yet.
I think even the 2.9 will probably have a hard time.
Yeah, and it's I don't know if there's been any issues on any vehicles that I've heard of in those platforms.
It's reliable so far, so no need to worry about it. It's holding.
Yeah, I mean that ZF8, from an architectural standpoint is from everything I've seen, the same as we've been running on the 3 liter supercharged stuff for years now.
And Audi actually went to it because it's stronger than the DSG.
Right, with quite a lot of power going through them. So
All right, guys. Well, thanks again for joining us for another week. We will see you next Tuesday because Memorial Day is a holiday.
Yep.
Thanks again for joining us, and see you soon. Appreciate it.